RuneScape gets a ton of regular updates, and it's always fun, in my opinion, to theorize some ideas that would be really good for the game. I have some big ideas, and Protox recently posted a video talking about some updates that he would like to see, and these are focused on PVM. It's linked in the description. But that video inspired me to make this video, which will be talking about some larger updates that I think would be pretty cool for the game, in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think, and let me know an idea that you have as well in the comments. Let's start. Now, first of all, we're going to start off with this one because I feel like it is a thing that could be insanely useful for a lot of new players to the game. Very often when people start the game, they go to Reddit and they go, hey, I'm looking for some advice on what I should do when I get started into the game. And a lot of people just say, fix your UI. You should spend some time working on a UI. Set up a UI. User interface is super important. Set that up first. This isn't exactly something that a new player wants to hear because it can take a long time to do. And have you seen this stuff? Like, look on screen right now. It is crazy how much stuff there is in here for you to have to work through. A new player not knowing what I don't know what half of this stuff is. Let's be honest. What the frick? It's crazy. So for a new player to have to go in and do this is a little bit daunting, I would say, and probably a bit off-putting as well. But the default settings are pretty trash, and there's definitely some improvements to be made. I think that we should be able to download or just install from some sort of in-client built thing or something like that, UIs set up from other players. So for example, you spend time perfecting your UI to make it perfect for you, and you can then upload that UI into, I don't know, anywhere that Jagex creates, and then other players can like browse a list of all these other UIs that players have made and submitted, and you can go, hey, that one looks nice, I would like to download, and that one, click on it, and then it just installs it and sets your UI up to copy theirs. Now, I have no idea how you would do this. I'm not a game dev, I don't have a freaking clue, but I do know that if I go to someone else's computer and sign in to my account, my user interface is saved and it is available perfectly fine anywhere on any single PC. It's not just saved to my PC. This must mean that the actual design and setup of that user interface is saved somewhere, right? If I'm thinking correctly. So would it not be possible to just take that information and share that with other players? If so, this could be a super useful thing. And of course, you wouldn't just have people uploading their own user interfaces. There would also be people who specifically design user interfaces for parts of the game. You could even have one that's set up specifically for Telos, one that's set up specifically for new players, one that's specifically set up for doing farming, and like all these different things. You're watching Netflix using a 50-50 screen split, well, this user interface is perfect for you. All these different things could come into this play, and I'd love to see this. What do you guys think? Let me know. This by far, that Jagex should just add this. One that I'm pretty sure everybody in the game is going to agree with is the Grand Exchange recent trade prices. We need this. Jagex, just what's going on? We have tools like Ellie, which I'm going to use an example of to show you how I would like sort of a thing to show. But Ellie will keep track of user submitted prices of trades and stuff, and they use screenshots, I believe, as proof to be able to submit that information, and it helps people put a rough estimate on like prices of items, rare items that aren't really shown on the Grand Exchange, because the way the Grand Exchange works, things that aren't traded a lot, prices take a long time to catch up and actually reflect the value. So if those prices fluctuate a lot as well, then you can never actually have an accurate price, and so it's confusing for a lot of people, and finding the right price is quite difficult. But Jagex should just have something on the side of the Grand Exchange when you open up a specific item that shows the last, I don't know, 100, 200 trades, something like this, and you can just scroll through them like you can see me doing with the Ellie example here. Just scroll through them and see what people have traded. It shows the time that they were traded, shows the date that they were traded, and it's an exact price. Like, this isn't a user submitted thing. It's guaranteed 100%, no manipulation, because it's what's just gone through the Grand Exchange. Again, I don't know how RuneScape works and how game dev works anyway, how easy this would be to do, but it should be something that's definitely on a to-do list for one day, in my opinion, because this is huge and would make a big difference and be a great quality of life for the game. A lot of people complain about price manipulation, and yes, people could maybe try and price manipulate this as well by, I don't know, buying out a certain amount of items recently, but are they going to really buy 100 Staff of Armadills just to price manipulate one of them? I mean, maybe you had 200, 300 recent sales, whatever. But at some point, you're going to be able to see that, wow, these were selling at 150 mil each, and then suddenly 400 mil, and then it's like back to 250 mil each, because it would be a good idea. Now, one that's probably a little bit more out there in the terms of imagination is something that I actually really liked from a game called Arcade. I'm sure many of you guys have played Arcade. I'm sure many of you haven't. But in-game in RuneScape, you have a few chores that you just don't want to do. For example, crafting overloads. Now, while this got a lot better recently because you can now AFK making overloads and it's not 4 at a time, it's still going to take time out of you like going and doing what you want to do. So if you have some bosses that you just want to kill bosses, you're me. All you want to do when you log in is kill bosses, and that's pretty much it, right? You are then going to have to go and craft, what, 1,000 potions, so you never have to do it again. You just want to sit down and you want to craft 1,000 potions. You have the money for it. You can buy all the resources on the Grand Exchange, but now you're going to have to sit there this whole time and craft 1,000 potions. Yes, you can AFK some of it, but it's still going to take hours out of your time. Well, I would love if you could put a crafting request on, say, a notice board, as you can see on screen for my interesting design here. You put a request on there and submit the resources that you would have to craft those potions, and other players can go along and pick that up. Now, of course, you would have to pay a premium for this because the player's time is where they're going to get paid from, but this would open up a whole new gameplay for skillers in the game. You want to craft potions, you want to do herb lore, you want to make potions for herb lore XP and get paid for it instead of actually losing money as well. Now, this works kind of in a win-win situation. The person who's crafting the stuff is going to get paid by you in terms of just straight up gold, right? It's a great idea. They're also going to get to keep experience from crafting these things, but they don't get to keep any of the supplies, and they don't get to keep the actual overloads at the end of it. So they just basically get experience and some gold for time. You, on the other hand, get to give them the gold to have that chore that you don't want to do done for you. You're basically paying them for the time that they're going to craft those potions for you. All you have to do is then come back later, pick those up, and off you pop. Now, of course, there's going to be a few issues with this in terms of what if the person doesn't craft them? Does it give them the supplies and stuff? You would have to sort of put a little bit more thought into it than the 10 minutes I've just sort of spent thinking about it. But of course, you would give them an untradeable version of the items that they can then craft into these overloads and then submit back to the notice board, and then you can go and pick them up. And maybe you put a time limit on them as well. You put like a 24-hour time limit, and if it doesn't get completed, any that have been completed get sent to the actual person who paid and a partial payment's taken, or they just take all the supplies, put them back in, and you can collect them and resubmit it if you want to. There could be other ways that you could do it, of course, as well, with a bit more time. I'm sure people could think of it, but I like this idea. I think it could offer something for skillers, for lower level players who want to get XP as well. You can level up that way. You can make overloads for other people. You can make adrenaline potions for other people, whatever you want to do. But I love this idea. I think it could be really good, man. I really, really do. It'd be a time saver and another way to open like gameplay for the players. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. Quick interruption to let you guys know that the potion lamps that we have, I'm gonna have to put them on stop soon, to be honest. They're selling out crazy fast, but as of right now, there are a few left to sell in this batch. Of course, they'll be available again in the future, but if you are interested in the merch and you want to support the channel, support me as well making the videos, then this is a great way to do it. Well, these are a super cool thing to put on your desk, and I mean, let's be honest, you always need something to add to that little bit of a setup, right? But if you're interested, then there's a link in the description or the pinned comment. Check it out. Another thing that the game 100,000% could benefit from, in my opinion, is a PVM group finder that actually works, like, you know, like actually does PVM group finding. Right now, what you can see on screen, I'm going through the in-game one, and everything just says no groups available, no, or found, or whatever it says. There's no groups in any of these ever. Like, it's a pain. You can't use this. If you were someone who logged in and was like, yeah, I want to do raids, let's find a raids group, and you click on it, you could sit there and you may get put into a group, but I guarantee you, when you get put into a group, it's because when someone else creates a group, they are automatically enlisted for searching, right? So when you are there waiting for a group and then someone makes one that's automatically listed, they'll merge you together, you're going to get kicked most of the time. Always. I don't think there's ever been a time that someone's joined my group randomly, and that's, do not kick them. I'm sorry if you've been kicked, but it is what it is. This is a really, really wonky, weird system, and having an actual group finder could be really cool. Now, one thing that you may run into though is people not wanting to do certain bosses. Like, you're going to run into a thing where you might queue for ages, it could tick away and show you a timer, and nothing's going to happen. Maybe you could offer something that like Final Fantasy 14 does, for example, where once a day, if you do a random encounter, you just press random and it picks the most in demand one, or like someone that's queuing and there's not anyone there doing it, then it'll put you in with them and you can get a bonus reward that day. Maybe you get a treasure hunter key or something, or maybe you just get some random currency that you can spend on a cosmetic. I don't know, something like that, right? It could be a cool thing to do, in my opinion. You give them like 200 oddments or whatever, it just pushes them to do it. But either way, I think the game could definitely benefit from an actual PVM group finder to help people get into PVM. You can maybe tick that you're learning or something like that. You could work it out, you know, it's the first time I've done it, tick that I'm a learner, all that sort of stuff. Either way, we have Discords for it all over the place. Maybe we should have something in game. Finally, back to the new or returning or just lesser experienced players, I think this game could absolutely benefit from a mentor system. Now in game, we actually have something that's like you help adventurers doing stuff and you get like mentor points. Is it mentor points? I don't know what it's called, something like that. But anyway, actually having an in-game mentor system or a coaching system or something like that could be a really beneficial thing for keeping new players in the game. RuneScape's confusing as all hell, bro. Like, it is insanely confusing, and a lot of people just kind of give up early on because it's overwhelming and there's a lot going on. What if you had an NPC in game, or even just a menu, something like that? Maybe we have enough menu, maybe an NPC, I don't know, something like this. You can open it up, and in there you can request a coach or request a mentor, and the person that you're matching up with will have to have like a certain amount of hours in game maybe, and you can join as an actual experienced player and click, yes, I am an experienced player and I am offering my services to mentor people. And what it'll do is it'll basically pop you and the mentor that you have applied for, requested, into a party, and it'll just say, this is your mentor, introduce yourself or whatever, or ask you a question, and it'll allow you to actually get some player-to-player help from people who have, one, chosen to do it, and two, know a lot about the game. Now we have the RuneScape wiki, but players don't want to just join a game and then go, hey, I'm confused as hell, let me look up the wiki. A lot of players aren't going to do that before they're invested in the game already. But there's a lot of stuff that also the wiki just doesn't really explain that well in terms of actually learning the game and not just knowing the details about certain things. Maybe you're looking for a little bit of guidance on should you do quests first or should you focus on some skills, or what's a good combat style to start with. You have questions like this, you're not in the clan as a new player, you don't know anybody as a new player, there's no world chat in this game or side chat to ask in, so having a little coaching option or a mentor option, you click on it, some random person who's friendly and like offered to help people joins this, and then you can just be like, hey bro, just wondering, I'm just trying to do this and that, and then they offer you a bit of advice and you can just end it there and then both people can always have that option to just end the actual conversation straight away. Say if the new person is just trolling and you just close it off or whatever, or the mentor's not very nice, you just press next or whatever, something like that. I think it's gonna be cool and really beneficial for the game. Obviously, again, we have Discords, we have YouTube, we have the RuneScape wiki. Committed players are going to use those, but people who have just joined the game, like if I join a new MMO and I join the game and I'm like, yeah, this is confusing, nothing makes sense, it's overwhelming, it feels pretty bad, I'm not going to go to YouTube to learn it. I'm just going to go, okay, time to log out and try a different game. So I think this could benefit the game. What do you guys think? Anyway, those are my ideas that I've come up with recently for things that I think would be pretty cool to see in game. Now, a lot of them are pretty big. Like these aren't going to be small things. So like, it's not going to pop up on a random Monday and we're like, hey, look, by the way, guys, we now have this. But I think these could be things that are good for the game overall. A lot of them aren't really content. Maybe the crafting one is, but everything else isn't really content. It's just good systems to have in game that I think would be good anyway. A lot of them maybe need tweaks to my ideas because I've just thought, hey, what about if we had this? And I've not thought through like, well, these players will just do this and it'll be like a negative thing, and we've got to think around. You got to think around it, right? Things take time. But overall, I think they're pretty cool ideas. I'm sure you guys have some awesome ideas as well, so let me know in the comments. But other than that, I'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks for watching. See you later, guys. Bye.